The cabin had held for 3 winters, but this blizzard pressed down with a weight that promised collapse. A deep groan ran through the ridge beam. Lucas looked up, and the coffee cup slid from his hand.
It's going. Get to the door now.
Timbers splintered overhead. Snow burst through the ceiling in a choking white cloud. They tumbled into the drifts as the cabin folded in on itself, the husky scrambling beside them.
No tools, no gear. Just the clothes on our backs and an hour before the real storm hits.
What are you doing? The supplies are buried. The cabin's gone.
This snow is dense. We cut it into blocks, build a dome. It'll hold the heat.
Hold heat? It's a grave of ice. I won't sleep in a snowbank.
The wind shrieked, driving the first hard flakes. The storm had arrived, and they had nothing but a handful of snow and a dead man's idea. Elijah didn't argue. He pulled the saw from his belt and knelt at the wind-packed drift, cutting the first block with steady, deliberate strokes.
You are wasting time. That ice won't stop the wind.
It's not ice, packed snow. Still air stays inside. Cold stays out. I saw it once, up north.
Lucas shook his head and turned away, grabbing a canvas tarp from the debris. He began lashing poles for a lean-to.
He'll freeze before midnight in that thing. The wind will cut right through.
The wind rose, driving snow into every seam of clothing. Elijah's fingers went numb as he shaped the second block. Lucas's lean-to shuddered as the canvas snapped violently. A corner tore loose and he cursed, fighting to retie it.
God damn. This whole place is trying to kill us, and you are playing with snow castles.
If that tarp rips, you've got nothing. My door's open.
Lucas didn't answer, pulling the torn canvas tighter. The first blocks of the igloo's base formed a curved ring in the snow. Elijah stacked the second tier, spiraling inward, each block leaning against the last. His strokes slowed.
You are carving your own tomb, Elijah, a snow mausoleum.
He didn't answer. The saw handle stuck to his bare skin where the glove had worn through.
Can't feel 3 fingers. Keep moving or they're gone.
Lucas's lean-to sagged. The canvas tore wider and snow began piling on his bedding.
That dome won't stand a hard gust. It's a pile of frozen sugar.
Elijah lifted the next block, pressed it into place, and held it until the seam froze solid. The storm front swallowed the ridgeline, and the world narrowed to a circle of grinding white.
Grave of ice. That's what you are building, and I won't be buried in it.
The walls rose to his chest, but his arms shook, and each breath burned. The dome stood only half closed. A thunderous gust slammed the clearing. The lean-to's poles cracked, and the canvas ripped free, spiraling into white oblivion.
No more tarp. No walls. Just me and the storm.
Elijah saw the wreckage. Lucas was huddled behind a broken pole, the blizzard already pasting snow across his coat.
He won't last an hour. I have to close this dome.
The husky barked again, its voice tearing against the wind. Elijah's saw bit into another block.
Elijah, the tarp's gone. There's nothing left out here.
Then start cutting blocks. Help me finish or you'll die.
I won't crawl into a snow grave. I'd rather take my chances in the open.
Elijah lifted the keystone, the final block. With a grunt, he pressed it home, sealing the dome. The igloo stood whole, a flawless white shell. But Lucas was still outside, and the storm showed no mercy. Elijah crawled into the dome and struck his last match against the saw blade. The candle caught, and the walls bloomed with amber light.
Still air. It's working. Now get him inside.
He ducked through the tunnel and into the shrieking white. The blizzard had cut visibility to a few feet. Lucas was on his knees behind the broken pole, blue-lipped and shuddering, ice already sealing his eyelashes.
Get up. The igloo's warm. It's not a grave, it's a house.
Can't. Feel my feet. Leave me.
Elijah hooked his arms under Lucas' shoulders and dragged him through the deep snow, each step a battle against the gale. The tunnel entrance was a black mouth against the whiteout. Elijah fell through it, hauling Lucas in behind him.
Too tight. Can't breathe.
Then they were inside, the candle still burning, the dome shimmering around them like a lantern of ice. He pulled a block from the wall and wedged it into the tunnel, sealing away the shriek of the storm.
You've locked us in a frozen tomb. The air will go bad.
The walls breathe. Snow's porous. The candle flame proves there's oxygen.
The flame burned steady, unbothered by the storm. Already the air inside felt heavier, warmer than the killing wind.
Can't be. Just the candle. But the cold isn't biting anymore.
Elijah pressed a hand to the wall. The surface had stopped drawing heat. The packed snow was doing its work. The husky settled against them, its thick coat adding warmth. The dome felt less like a grave and more like a den.
It's still ice. One good shake, and the whole thing could bury us.
Then we make sure it doesn't shake. Pack the seams. Keep the dome smooth.
They sat in silence, the candle flame the only movement. Outside, the storm built to a roar, but inside, the air held its breath. The blizzard fed on the drift, piling snow against the dome until the tunnel's entrance was a memory of light. Inside, the last sliver of gray vanished. Lucas scrambled to his knees, gasping.
It's sealed. We're buried. What have you done?
The walls breathe. We need a vent. The air's still good, but we'll need more.
He pulled his knife and scraped upward at the dome's crown, carving a finger-width hole into the storm. A jet of freezing air poured in, but the draft was clean. The candle guttered but held.
Still dark, but the air's moving. Maybe that's enough. What if the dome cracks under the weight? We'll be crushed in this icy coffin.
Then we'll listen. If a block shifts, we patch it. Right now, we wait.
The storm screamed overhead, but the vent held. They settled into the darkness, counting breaths. A sharp report cut through the dark. One of the top blocks had split, and snow sifted down like sand through a broken hourglass.
It's breaking. I told you, the whole thing's coming down.
Not if we patch it fast. Wet snow. Now, pack it with your hands.
He scraped snow from the floor and rammed it into the fissure, the wet mixture freezing instantly on contact. Lucas stared at the sifting snow, then scooped up a handful of fresh powder and thrust it toward the crack.
Keep it packed. No gaps. The storm's weight is testing every brick we laid.
I can feel the pressure. This dome is alive, shifting.
The fissure sealed with a frozen crust, and the cascade of snow ceased. The dome groaned once, then settled.
It held, for now, but how long before the next block gives?
They worked shoulder to shoulder until every seam was tight, the storm still hammering above. The dome, a fragile fortress, the candle stub guttered in its own wax, then winked out. Blackness swallowed the igloo whole.
Who taught you to build a snow house, Elijah? I never heard of such a thing.
Inuit hunters on the frozen bay north of here. They lived in snow domes, not canvas. The wind can't rob heat from still air. Snow's full of trapped pockets, insulation. They taught me to understand.
Insulation. So it's not the cold, it's the moving air that kills.
In the darkness, Elijah's voice painted the memory. Hunters laughing as they carved perfect blocks from the storm.
Why didn't you tell me this before? I could have helped you instead of fighting.
Would you have listened? Or would you have called it a grave of ice and walked away?
He's right. I never gave it a chance. Stubborn fool.
They lay in the blackness, the storm still hammering, but the dome's warmth no longer felt like a trick.
I was wrong, Elijah. This isn't a grave, it's the first shelter I've trusted in years.
Trust is hard when the world's tried to bury you. I know that feeling.
I lost a wife and child to a fire 3 winters ago. After that, nothing seemed worth building again.
Elijah didn't answer. He reached into his coat and pulled out a strip of dried meat, tore it in two, and pressed half into Lucas's hand.
He saved me. and I am still dragging ghosts. But this dome, it feels like a second chance.
We'll get out when the storm breaks. Until then, huddle close. Heat from our bodies keeps the dome from freezing hard.
They pressed together, the husky's warm breath mingling with theirs. Outside, the wind's howl dropped an octave.
Listen, the storm's easing. Maybe the worst is over.
Don't trust it yet. A storm like this can gather a second breath. Stay awake, stay warm.
They settled into a shared vigil, the dome's steady warmth, a low flame against the dying wind. The long night still held them, but a fragile truce had been struck with the cold. The vent hole, their slender thread to the sky, froze shut. The air inside grew heavy, stale.
Air's thinning. Lungs can't pull enough. And my ear, it's like a hot knife.
Elijah fumbled toward the ceiling, finding the vent sealed with an icy crust. No light to melt it, no reach to clear it.
I can feel the frostbite burrowing. If we sleep, it'll take my ear, maybe more.
Every blink drags longer. If I give in, the cold might take us both. Press tighter against me and the husky. Body heat is all that's left.
If we sleep, do we wake up? Or is this the last warm place we'll ever know?
We trust the dome. We trust each other. That's all we can do now.
They pulled the husky tighter, arms intertwined, and surrendered to the blackness. The storm still screamed, but the dome held its ground. Lucas' breath came shallow, but steady, frost on his lashes. Elijah held his hand in the dark. They had done all they could. Silence woke him. Not the muffled shriek of the blizzard, but a deep, untroubled quiet. The storm had passed. At the sealed entrance, a pale seam of light wavered through the blocked tunnel, dawn pressing against the snow. Elijah crawled forward and clawed at the drift, fingers scraping frozen granules until he broke through to open air.
Light. Real light. We made it through the night.
Lucas stirred, coughing as fresh air flooded the cramped dome. The husky whined and stretched.
Is it morning? We're still alive?
A beam of sun pierced the vent hole above, illuminating the dome's interior like a cathedral of ice.
Alive. The dome held. Now help me widen this hole.
Together, they pushed the final block aside, and the cold morning air poured in, sharp and sweet as mountain water. The entrance yawned open to a blinding white world. The igloo had saved them. Now they had to face what lay beyond. They emerged into a world erased, every landmark swallowed by drifts. Only the igloo stood, a flawless white hemisphere.
The cabin's gone, completely buried. Your snow dome is the last thing standing.
The snow covered our mistakes and our cabin. This dome kept us alive through both.
Lucas crunched through the crust to the dome and pressed his bare hand against the wall. The snow felt solid as masonry.
This grave of ice saved me. The strongest shelter I ever cursed. You were right, Elijah. A grave of ice. But it buried the storm, not us.
The storm buried everything else. The dome isn't just shelter. It's a machine that traps stillness.
Lucas looked from the buried wreckage to the gleaming dome, and something inside him shifted, a respect for what he had nearly discarded. The husky bounded through the drifts, shaking off snow. They were weak, frostbitten, but undeniably alive.
I'll carry this lesson. If I ever see another storm, I'll build this house of snow.
They dug through the debris for anything salvageable. A tin cup, a length of rope, the frozen saw.
Remember this, Lucas. The spiral is everything. Cut blocks from wind-packed snow. It's denser. Stack them leaning inward like a corkscrew.
So the weight leans into the dome, not outward. That's why it holds.
And the seams. Pack them with wet snow. It freezes solid, sealing the shell. Leave a vent at the top, or you'll suffocate.
Still air, packed snow, spiral walls. I won't forget.
They lashed what they had to a makeshift sled and turned their backs on the igloo. The husky broke trail, and they followed, slow and halting through the deep drifts.
He's got it. The knowledge will outlive this journey.
The igloo shrank behind them, a white speck against the endless snow. But its lesson was now etched into Lucas's mind. The river lay ahead, frozen and silent, and the long walk toward salvation began. The frozen river numbed their feet, but they pushed on until chimney smoke smudged the sky. They limped into the trading post, two specters with a dog. The men there stared at the frostbitten apparitions. News of the blizzard had come through. Everyone believed the ridge had claimed them.
We're alive because of a house we built from nothing but snow.
He laid out the method: packed blocks, spiral walls, a candle warming still air. The men listened like he was speaking witchcraft.
I called it a grave of ice, but that grave kept us warm through the worst of it.
The trader shook his head, calling it impossible. Sleeping inside snow and surviving.
Lucas pulled his weight inside that dome. I wouldn't have made it without him.
Without his stubbornness, I'd be frozen in that lean-to. The igloo is the only thing that held.
The story took root that night, whispered among the posts like a secret the mountains had kept. A hard year passed. Lucas rode alone along the frozen river, a pack horse trailing behind. The sky bruised to a deep gray, and the first heavy flakes stung his face. A storm was gathering. A broken wagon tilted in the drifts ahead. A family huddled beneath a tattered canvas that flapped uselessly.
Still air, packed snow, spiral walls. Elijah's words snapped back like a whip crack.
He recognized the panic. A father striking a dead match. A mother wrapping a crying child. The same terror he once wore.
I know what you are thinking. There's no shelter for miles, but I can build one out of snow, and it'll be warmer than that canvas ever was.
He pulled the saw from his saddle and walked toward the wind-packed drift, his own lesson rising inside him.
I was where you are. A year ago, freezing under a lean-to, a man taught me how to cut blocks and trap stillness. Let me show you.
The father stared, despair warring with desperate hope. Then, without a word, he nodded. Lucas knelt and cut the first block, the spiral already forming in his mind. He explained each step as he worked. Find wind-packed snow, cut blocks twice as wide as they are tall.
Stack them, leaning inward. A spiral. The weight holds it together.
The father crossed his arms. Snow for shelter? We'll freeze.
Number. Still, air traps heat. I froze a year ago in a canvas lean-to. This dome saved me.
He placed the first block in a circle, gesturing for them to watch. The mother knelt, picking up the saw. Show me how to cut the next one.
Straight down, then angle the base. It'll lock into the wall.
They worked as the snow fell harder. Lucas guiding, the family falling into rhythm. The second tier curved inward, and the father laid a block beside his son's hands. By the time the wind rose, the base was a ring of interlocked white bricks, and Lucas smiled at the growing dome. As the storm's first gust battered the drift, Lucas set the keystone, sealing the dome. It stood perfect, a smooth white shell. He crawled inside with the family and struck a match. The lantern bloomed, and the walls flared amber. The mother gasped. The father held his hand to the wall, feeling not ice, but a stillness that held heat. The wind screamed outside. But inside the dome, the flame barely flickered. The still air was trapping life.
It's working. Just like Elijah said, a machine of stillness.
He ducked out, letting the family settle. Outside, the storm raged, but the dome glowed like a lantern in the dark.
Elijah, you'd be proud. Your house of snow saved them.
Through the translucent walls, he saw the family huddled in warmth, the lantern painting them gold. The father's face, once tight with fear, now slack with disbelief. The child stopped crying. Lucas pulled his coat tighter and sat beside the entrance, keeping watch over the storm and the house of snow. Dawn broke pale and windless. The storm had scoured the valley clean, leaving only the igloo standing like a white sentinel. The father crawled out first, blinking. He seized Lucas's hand before the man could rise. He pressed a leather pouch into Lucas's palm. Coin. Lucas closed the man's fingers over it.
Keep your money. Just remember how to build this shelter and teach anyone else who needs it.
The child, silent, since the wagon broke, wrapped small arms around Lucas's leg and held tight.
That dome saved my life once. Now it's saved yours. Pass it on.
He pulled free, fetched his horse, and led it toward the river. The family stood watching. Lucas looked back once. The igloo was already shrinking into the white, but its lesson would not. He felt the full circle close. A skeptic freezing under a lean-to, now a teacher leaving a family alive. The river carried him away, but the house of snow would stand long after they'd all gone. He rode in silence, the river ice creaking under his horse's hooves. Behind him, the igloo was now a distant white speck, but in his memory, the dome burned bright, the amber lantern light, the curved walls trapping warmth. The family huddled in peace.
That night with Elijah, I was the one huddled. He taught me that stillness could be a weapon against the storm.
He remembered the crack, the sifting snow, the sheer will it took to pack the seam, and the hand that helped him.
I was a ghost then, carrying a dead family. Now I am carrying life.
The spiral, the seams, the vent. Each principle was now etched into him like scripture.
A grave of ice, I called it, but it became a cradle for all of us.
A slow smile crept under his frozen beard. He nudged the horse forward. The house of snow would travel with him now, a lantern in the cold, lighting the way for anyone lost. The river bent south, and Lucas Cole rode on, carrying the lesson forward into the long white silence. The storm has no power over a pocket of still air. That was the lesson Elijah carried from the Inuit hunters. He taught Lucas, a man who first called it a grave of ice, then learned to trust its frozen walls. And Lucas taught a family who had nothing but a broken wagon and a dying fire. A spiral dome, packed seams, a vent at the crown, the physics of survival written in snow. The knowledge passed from Elijah to Lucas, from Lucas to the family, from the family downriver to whoever needs it next. A house of snow, counterintuitive and beautiful, stands as a testament to the quiet power of trapped stillness. In the deepest cold, where the wind hunts everything that moves, the only shelter is a pocket of air that does not stir. That was the secret Elijah carried. The truth Lucas almost died refusing, and the gift he finally gave away. Wherever the snow falls, the house of snow can rise, a lantern in the white, a miracle of still air, and on the coldest nights, it still shines. Long after the storm, the image lingers, a dome of snow glowing with trapped warmth. It is a vision that defies fear, a shelter born from the very thing that threatens to kill. The wind may scream, but the dome holds, a pocket of stillness where life persists. Elijah's hands carved the first block. Lucas's hands passed the knowledge on. In that frozen wilderness, a house of snow became a lantern, lighting the way for all who follow. It is a testament to the simple truth: the storm cannot touch what it cannot move. So remember, when the world turns cold, that stillness is a fortress, and the house of snow still stands, waiting for the next traveler who dares to build a miracle of still air. A lantern in the white, the house of snow, and on the coldest nights it still shines.